Hey mates, welcome to Fighnimates. I'm back with another Let's Practice. This time we'll be practicing shading, and the reason I'm filming my face is because this is episode 10 of Let's Practice, and it's a little milestone for myself, and I'm really proud that I got so far with Let's Practice. I enjoy it, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So that's the reason I'm show you my face. So let's get started. I'll be covering 3 ways to shade, I hope. And the first is basic shell and cell shading, the second is airbrush shading, and the third is painted shading. So okay, basic and cell shading, let's see. I'm gonna go to my layer tab around here. I have it all there, and I'm creating a new layer, and I'm gonna pick black. And with cell shading or basic shading, you need to stick with a one color. You can switch colors, but I don't recommend it. And do it all, the shading, do it all on one separate layer and not on the same layer as your base colors. That's very smart to do that. Please don't make the same mistakes. So okay, put the opacity of your brush, put it on 100%, and the other, and pick a very solid brush, a brush that doesn't have too much opacity mixes. Just go with a basic brush. And what I want to do is, if I do this, let me select the layer. So okay, if I do this, you see it's very black. And if I now go to the opacity of my layer settings and I bring it down to around 30-40%, you see that I already got a basic and shade I'm happy with. And why you should do it on a separate layer is if I now play around with the opacity of the layer, you see I can make the shading, I can make it darker or I can make it lighter. And if you don't have it up on a separate layer, you can do that. So that's the reason. I wish I knew. So I'm going to leave it at 40%. So yeah, that's good. And we're gonna go to airbrush shading. And airbrush shading has a really nice gradient if you know how to do it. But I'm going to show you guys how to do it. So you select that. I'm also going to do that on a separate layer. And I'm going to select my airbrush. And it can be all the basic airbrush that Photoshop or other software has. But also your eraser, pick a airbrush for your eraser. The same airbrush as your brush. And for your airbrush, bring it down to 15%. Don't leave it at 100%. Around between the 10 and the 20%. It's fine. And do the same thing for your eraser. Okay. And I'm going to pick the color. The base color is blue, and I want to go darker since I'm going to be shading it. And then I'm going darker, and work with a big airbrush. If you have selected the area, you don't have to be afraid that you're going to color outside of it, because when you're airbrush shading, you need the big movements of your hand. So do that. Something like this. So, and the reason why you should also select a airbrush for your eraser is if you don't like the gradient or you did too much shading, you can just go with your eraser and erase a bit of the shading so you can get your original color back. And as you can see, you can erase it all the way, or you can just erase a little bit. And that's the reason why you also should select an airbrush for your eraser. I'm going to go a tad darker. Let's see. Okay. There you go, guys. A nice gradient. I'm also going to add some light around here. And there you have it, from this to this. And with the basic, it's from that to that. And now going to painted shading. You can use the basic brushes of Photoshop, but I'm going to use one of the customized brushes. So just a brush with a fun texture is okay for this painted shading. I'm also going to select the area and create a new layer. So there I have my brush. Do the same thing for your eraser. Select the brush that you're going to paint with, and your opacity between the 80 and 70% to begin with, and your flow, be sure to also put your flow at the same opacity as your at the same percentage as your opacity, and select the icon beside. Oh wait, that was the eraser. Alright, and select the icon beside your flow settings on your right side. 75%, select that, and 75%. I'm going to go lower. And now to select the color, bringing up the color picker, and I'm going with darker, like very dark. And yeah, so there you can see I already created a gradient. It's not as smooth as the airbrush gradient, but I'm going to show you what you have to do to get it, to make it smoother. And I'm also going to add a light source, not a light source but a lighter color than the base color. So, and what you now want to do is you want to switch between colors to make it smoother. So if I want this smoother, I'm going to pick this color, paint over, and the color that you then get, you create, you pick that, and then you paint it until what you have is very smooth. It's a very smooth gradient. And then you can keep doing this, keep doing it until you find that it's smooth enough for your pleasure. Okay, something like that. I'm going to leave it. I like to see the lines in my painted shading. I like that. So there we have it, basic, airbrush, and painted. And I'm going to, and I already finished it, so I'm going to show you the version that I did correctly, and that's something like this. And where you can see the painted shading, I kept going until you can almost not see the lines anymore. So that's it for the examples. I'll be doing it on the drawings, and already did the base colors for the drawings. So there you have it. And I'll be shading them. And before you start shading, you need to know where your light source is coming from. I already know that for these drawings, so I'm going to pick a brush and I'm going to indicate them with arrows. Create a new layer, select red, and I want my my light for the robot to come from above. Why is it not? Oh, yes, I want it to come from above, so something like this for the robot. And for Elsa, I want it to come from the left side, left above, so something like this. And for Tarzan, I also want the same light source. Or do I? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. No, I'm going to do it from below. Okay, and if you're someone that you're struggling with light source and where it's coming from and how you need to do it, I have a site for you guys, and it's called photoworkshop.com, and it's really handy. I use it a lot. And how it works is you just select one of these light balls, and they each indicate a light source, and it shows you if the light source is coming from that way, how the shadows fall on your female character. And it's really handy. If you want light from behind her, you see that it's just a silhouette, no color at all. Light behind her from above, it's really dark below. And I'm going to leave a link in the description so you guys can experiment with it. And it's a fun website, and using reference is always good. So I'm going to keep that on my other window. Okay, Going to take a bit of water. That's good. And I'm going to start shading these suckers. I'm going to start with the basic and cell shading of the robot, and yeah, I'm going to time lapse it, and if I have something to say to you guys, I'm going to stop the time lapse and do it in real time. So let's start. So I finished the basic slash cell shading of the robot, and as you can see, I love how it looks, and the light source played a big role in it coming from above, and I use the side as a reference. And as you can see, if I turn it off, the colors are okay, but it doesn't add anything special. And with just basic shading, and the only thing I did was choose a black color, create a new layer, and bring the opacity down to about 40%, and I have something like this. No color picking, just thinking about my light source. So I'm going to be moving on to the airbrush technique. So guys, I'm finally done with the three different ways to shade: the cell shading, the airbrush shading, and the painted shading. It took me a while. The longest was the painted shading, what I actually expected, and it's really late, so I'm tired and I'm going to bed. But I hope you guys liked it and enjoyed this let's practice slash tutorial. And leave in the comments if you want more of these kind of videos. They take a while to make, but I think it's worth it. And check this file out on DeviantArt. You can download it. I'll make it available to download, so you can take a better look at it. And yeah, be sure to share this video. I would really appreciate it, and so all the time and effort does not go wasted. And that was it. I'm going to bed. So thank you for watching. Stay awesome, mates.